Morning, everyone. Hopefully, everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. For those of you that don't know, my name is David Mott. I'm an advisor here at Nexus One Financial, member of the investment committee, giving you a look under the hood at what our team is thinking. Market about up 1.5% on the week, nearing double digits on the year. A number of big technical pieces are coming out here in the next couple of days. The Fed's barometer for inflation, the PCE, will be coming out. That's a big one. New housing, that's also another big one. These are coming out here in the coming week. But while we wait for those technical pieces, let's dig into some of the common questions, misconceptions that we're getting and we see when the market is in the state it's in today. So right now, a big misconception that we're seeing in the market, a little bit of cavalierness is going on. We see this every year. Market is up nearly double digits year to date. And this is also, we're seeing a little bit of deviation between the institutional investors, those are the big guys, versus what we call the retail investors. Those are the average Joes. When we enter this period of growth, which is experienced since the end of the tariff war in 2025, market has done nothing but go up. And this is where institutional investors continue to do the homework, continue to manage return versus risk, but we're seeing different trading patterns on the retail side. There's a lot of ego going on. Folks think they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And quite frankly, they're not wrong when they say they haven't missed in 12 months. Because in a lot of ways, nobody's missed in the last 12 months. This is where we start to see homework going to the wayside, less consultation with your advisor, should you have one. This is where we start to see the retail investors take exorbitant amounts of risk. They've been in some sort of AI-related ETF, making all sorts of returns. They feel they're better than they are. They don't do the homework. They don't put in the work and start to do individual obscure AI companies chasing those greater returns. And this is where we start to see retail consumers enter a state of similar returns, but much higher levels of risk. And that's something you don't want to find yourself in. It's something we always see when the market enters about a year to date, 10% double digit return. Retail investors get a little cavalier, a little brave. Important to continue to do your homework, important to run these individual investments by your advisor to make sure that work is being done. So want to make this very clear. If we look at some of the numbers, what a lot of the big analysts are saying, some of the more optimistic analysts, Goldman, Deutsche Bank, the usuals, they are estimating anywhere from a 7,900 to 8,000 point S&P. A lot of money to be made. Even some of the more moderate and conservative groups, the UBSs of the world, are thinking closer to a 7,500 to 7,700 S&P. So there is some growth still, and every technical measure we're looking at still looks fundamentally sound. There is money to be made. Where we see is an institutional move or working with an advisor will continue to weigh the risks. Maybe use something like an AI-related ETF, opposed to what a retail guy might do. Hey, my buddy at work has told me about this new memory startup company. I want to go all in. You're opening yourself up to a mountain of risk. So there's still plenty of money to be made, at least in our view on the investment committee side, but we don't want to take exorbitant amounts of risk just because we have inflated egos in the market that, by the way, no one has missed in the last 12 months. Common question I've received a lot recently, and this is funny. I feel like I'm developing a little bit of a pattern. As a financial advisor, I tend to get a lot of these questions or similar questions during a holiday weekend. And I'm sure it's because we're spending more time with friends and family, have some conversations we normally wouldn't. But a common one I'm getting is the movement of a home, or possibly a second home, vacation home, as there's aging parents, as there's a lot of folks wanting to divest assets to kids. Received a number of questions on the best way to move these assets. And there's a right way and a much better way to move a lot of these assets. Signing over homes, vacation homes directly to kids, no doubt, great kids that they absolutely deserve. You trust them with your life. Moving that home directly over to them can create a number of tax consequences, not only immediate, but in the future. Leaving them as a gift upon death has a step up in cost basis. Signing on children, whether it's some sort of joint or retitling of the home, loses that step up in cost basis. Also want to look at trusts to avoid probate. So as I'm fielding a lot of these questions about the best way to move homes, second homes, vacation homes to the kids or friends and family, whoever that is, simply putting their name on titles, retitling homes is not necessarily the best way to go about it. You create tax events not only immediately, but you also miss out on a great benefit. We call it the step up in cost basis. We can absolutely talk about that more to your advisor. Leaving it to them via some sort of trust, via some sort of estate planning document, keeps the tax benefit in line opposed to just adding them to. So keep that in mind. Call your advisor if you are thinking about making sure certain assets point to the next generation. There's a right way and a better way to do it. So to elaborate on that, to talk through some simple math, let's say mom and dad have a home worth $400,000 that they bought for $200,000. If they add junior or whoever to that home title, that cost basis will carry over. And one day when junior sells the home that mom and dad so graciously gifted them, he or she will have to pay capital gains on that $200,000. And at a gains rate, that is $30,000. And those cap gains rates can be higher than 15, depending on a number of other factors. Now, if we leave the home to junior upon death, don't put him on the title just yet, have it point to a trust for junior or have it go to him via a will. Upon death, the cost basis gets what's called a step up. The $200,000 does not carry over. It steps up to $400,000. So when junior sells that home right then and there for $400,000 with a cost basis of $400,000, that is a zero capital gains and no taxes paid on that particular transaction. Another common question we are getting, or a common misfire, I would say, with prospective clients we're seeing here as a firm. When prospects come to learn more about our firm, have a discussion with us, they come very well prepared. They bring tax returns, they have statements, they do their homework on a number of the technical or what we call quantitative pieces, right? The math of it. And it's a little interesting. It's a bit of this new wave we're seeing. They don't have the answer to probably the most important question. And that is, what is my goal? Are my goals being accomplished? It's one of these that we have to look at the stock market as a tool to get us to the end goal. And if we don't have a very clear picture on what that goal is, how can we even begin to properly invest you? How much risk versus protection do you need if we're a little hazy on the goal? And a fun comment I've been getting a lot recently, well, the goal is to make me $1 bazillion. Look, that's a great goal. It's an unrealistic goal. We really do have to view the stock market as a tool, and it's different for everybody. Not only is it what we have saved versus our outflows, but also what our end goals are, whether they're legacy, whether they're charity, whether they're to live a certain lifestyle in retirement. So that is, you would think, a very common qualitative question, but it's something that we're seeing is almost being brushed to the wayside. And something I challenge anybody to make sure your financial advisor knows your goals. If he or she doesn't, more than happy to have a conversation. For those of you that are clients, and if goals are slightly changing, make sure you keep us up to date on those goals. It makes sure that we are allocated and handling your entire investments, estate, and tax planning properly. But make sure, number one goal to ask your financial advisor, what are my goals and how can I get there? So to put a bow on things, market is still holding the same course it has been, slightly going up. Again, it's a game of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Still some room for growth right now on the technical front. Big day on Thursday, PCE. Again, that is the heavily weighted bellwether of a number that the Fed uses on what we're going to do with inflation. That's a bit of a mixed bag. It's very sticky as the conflict in the Middle East continues, something that we are watching very closely. Again, a lackluster number has been the housing permits, housing starts, housing sales, anything housing related. That number is coming out Thursday as well. We'll talk a lot more about that next week, what that means for you as that data comes out. Again, we appreciate you. For those of you that are clients, we look forward to working with you that those are not. Appreciate the like and subscribe, folks, so we can continue to make this content. And if there's any question, any topic you would like your advisor to go deeper on, call myself, call them directly. Happy to serve you here at Nexus One. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.